Welcome everybody to the Hallford. To the Dirty Air episode number 2 of the Dirty Air podcast. What's up, Brian? How you doing tonight, man? Doing good, doing good. Glad to be back after a week off. Sorry about that, everyone. We had some issues last week. I was sick with the flu, and it just didn't work out last week. And so we're happy to be back here this week. Yeah, I'm happy I didn't either. That was a rough time, that's for sure. And glad to be over that, but got a lot of stuff to talk about this week with finally NASCAR overseeing this new package that they brought out, and we actually have gotten some first-hand experience here today on iRacing with it a little bit, with iRacing bringing out a new build for that. So I'm sure we have lots of comments on that build in the package for sure. So guess we'll get started here since we missed Atlanta. We'll get started here with Atlanta, and I mean, overall Atlanta's weekend it was pretty Atlanta race. I mean, with the lower grip track like that, the package, you really didn't see the close racing like a lot of people expected. They didn't have the aero ducts there, which they did at Las Vegas this past weekend, but we'll get into that. But Atlanta was pretty interesting. I mean, it was a pretty Atlanta race, I'd say. It's just they spread it out, and it was really the best car handling wise was going to win that. Yeah. Ooh, hold up. Sorry, hold on, Brian. One sec. Reason. Oh, I know why. Hold on. Sorry, everybody. Put that
Did,
right there. Okay, here.
did you have me muted? Were you
No,
trying to shut me up?
I didn't have you muted. I had you completely not. I apologize, everybody. Welcome Brian Johnson back here. You want to say anything?
Oh, what?
Just go ahead and introduce yourself because you didn't introduce yourself before.
Oh, well, hello. My name's Brian. I do the Freaky Fast broadcast. No, over there.
Yeah,
But
and that
and
was
now
my
I'm over
bad.
here too.
Yeah, that was my bad. I accidentally did not have the right settings here for some reason. So Brian was not being broadcasted, but we were having a little chat
Oh,
about the Atlanta race. So what were you saying, Brian? Sorry about to make you repeat yourself, but
oh
how did
yeah.
Atlanta race see you?
It was pretty much just a typical Atlanta race. Uh, with a little bit of differences. I think one of them was the cars didn't look quite as loose as I think they have in the past overall. Um, the cars looked a bit more tame, which I think some of the that new package has something to do with at Atlanta. And then towards the end, we saw the tires not be able to keep up with the high corner speeds. Uh, so that was interesting to watch. Goodyear's going to have to adjust as well to NASCAR. And then this past weekend at Las Vegas, we saw a completely different kind of race. And there's some mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, I would say like I agree with you, Atlanta. I mean, you didn't really we didn't see the cars, I'd say, get as sideways as they normally would be there, which I don't think we've seen that really anyways in the past couple years. With the adjustable track bar they've had the past few years, I feel like drivers have really had a lot of control on how their car handles there, and as the run goes on.
Yeah, it
And
hadn't been bad, but they
yeah,
look a lot more stable.
did look a lot more stable. I know a bunch of drivers did complain of being very loose. A lot of drivers also I know complained of being very tight. I believe the Hendrick cars, especially, they were terrible at
Oh,
Atlanta.
they
They
were
were
trash.
they were god awful, and I know a lot of them complained of being very very tight. And
But Kevin Harvick complained of being tight.
yeah, the big issue I saw with Atlanta was my biggest fear, at least from Atlanta, was you seen Kyle Larson dominate pretty much the first half of the race, and then get that speeding penalty that sent him to the back, and he only recovered to 12th, and they had pretty much a whole stage left. And the best car in the field, I know his car. It did seem like he was struggling in traffic when they caught traffic every time, but still, like that, just that fact that Kyle Larson couldn't work his way back up to really where he was at least a top five car still. I would say. I mean, I hope your car didn't change that much over a course of a one stage. Now we also seen Kevin Harvick struggle after the second stage, so the track probably did change a little. But man, it really seemed like because you had Ryan Blaney get out in the lead there for at one point, and he got to the lead and he just pulled away. Like, and it seemed like whoever could get out there, it really had a good advantage. And I don't, want to bash it, but I feel like the dirty air has gotten worse. I mean, it, I mean, we know the cars are putting off a big wake with this package like it is, and
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
8-inch spoiler.
yeah, and it's and with that overhang of the splitter and all that, it just I don't know. I'm very concerned. For they wanted to help the dirty air, so they're thinking slower speeds, but it's actually higher center to corner speeds. So it's just very mixed feelings from the Atlanta race from me. I mean, we had Brad Keselowski win. I think that was good for him. He was sick. That's pretty cool. He drove his butt off. And I mean, you also had like tire failures and stuff, like you said, Brian. So like, very interesting. It's something I didn't really expect going into the weekend, but then thinking about how high the speeds are in the center corner, it kind of makes sense that the load would be up in those tires. And man, Atlanta was. A lot of people were, we came out of Atlanta, we were like, well, we can't judge it because it wasn't the full package. It was like half the package. So we go into Las Vegas this weekend. I think Las Vegas is probably one of the most overhyped races in NASCAR history, and
Well,
I don't
not
know if it performed really. So
the most overhyped race in NASCAR history, I would have to say, would be the Roval. But the Roval
it
delivered.
performed, yeah, yeah. I was about to say it performed.
Problem here is
Yeah,
that
this
it
didn't.
was just
I mean, we
well, I don't want to say terrible because I mean a
exactly.
race is a race,
It's still
but
racing,
it
and
was just
and
not
they they
top level.
they also, a lot of people are bringing up this fact that at Las Vegas we've seen the most passes in a race ever in a green Las Vegas, at least green flag passes. Now I I always like to say this just to quote Tony Stewart, but passing's not racing. I mean, you know it doesn't matter how many passes are out there. If we want to pass, like Tony Stewart said, we can go out on the highway and pass each other all day long. If you look at the book, racing is not passing in the definition. So I never think passing should be the number one thing. Yes, you should be able to pass. That is very key. But you know, I think variation is what NASCAR needs. It needs people that, one week you're good at this track and the next week you might struggle. I mean, nobody wants to see somebody dominate every weekend. And I really feel like with this new package, I mean, it's a lot of it's come down to the car. And if a team figures it out, maybe like Penske has, I mean, look, they won the first two races of this package and been pretty much the two, I wouldn't say dominant cars, but man, they've been really strong. And not to take away anything from Joe Logano or Brad Keselowski, because I mean Joe Logano is a champion, so is Brad Keselowski. But they, it's definitely, I think, coming down more to the car right now more than anything, and they got it figured out. Penske definitely has that car or package or whatever figured out, and I think some teams are playing catch up. That's for sure.
But yeah, I think part of the problem here is that NASCAR is trying to keep up with the technology. So all these race teams now have technology that used to only be used really for like Formula One. But now we have NASCAR's getting this technology and using it, and so all the cars are just so good, and every little bit of advantage you have is huge. So I think NASCAR is trying to kind of counteract that, and they always seem to just shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I like to agree with that. I mean, the problem I see with it is like we're trying too much too fast, and I think we bit off a little too much with this package. I mean, I understand that we want closer racing, but it's spread it out. Like everybody thought Las Vegas is going to be a pack race. It's a smooth racetrack. It's going to be a pack race, man. It's going to be just like Daytona and Talladega, and I am not a fan of that. So, like personally, it probably suited me more to how the race went this past weekend. But at the same time, when you hype it up to be that, side by side racing for that long, I mean, the restarts have been more wild. I'll give them that, but I just don't see the it factor that a lot of people. I mean, I don't know. It's very questionable. I think we just need to give it more weeks and see how it plays out. See how it plays out at Auto Club. I'm actually interested in this coming up weekend with it being Phoenix, with it being ISM, which is Phoenix, and this new the higher downforce. I'm very interested to see how the cars race on a short track with the higher downforce. I think we'll still see good short track racing. I think Phoenix books on a great show, so I'm excited for that race. But I mean, I think we just need to give the other package a little more time. Let some teams figure it out. I mean, I ain't saying we should like blow this up right now, but I wouldn't be against blowing up this package and going back to you know, I've always said this. I've been saying this. I've been a person, a proponent of this. Like I hate that adjustable track bar we had. When it came in 2015, I was very against that, just due to the fact of NASCAR is really born on comers and goers. Like you'd have someone take off for 15 laps and be, wow, that man, his car is so good on the short run, and then he would back up to the rest of the field as you know his balance would shift one way and the other guy's balance would shift perfectly to the right way and his car would be better. And I really feel like that track bar adjuster really played a big factor in a lot of races being hard to pass and really generic. I mean, you get out there and then adjust on your car, and a track bar adjustment is a huge adjustment in a stock car. I mean, you can make huge balance changes from inside a race car. I don't think that's NASCAR. I think NASCAR is you race what you got, and then your pit crew helps you out when you stop. And I think that makes passing right there better. But we've seen them take it away this year so far, and we didn't get to see the results of it with the old package. I think with the old package last year, maybe without that track bar adjuster, we'd have seen even better racing. But it's something we can't. I guess we're never gonna see maybe unless we go back towards that way, which I kind of doubt. But I mean, I've always hated that track bar adjuster, and they took it away this year, which I think will help a little bit still because the cars are going to change balance wise. But when you're going that much slower, I mean, yeah, the loads are up or higher in the corner, but we are seeing reduced tire wear. Like times are not going off as much. What's coming forward in NASCAR, but I mean, we're along for a ride, and that's what we're here to discuss every week. So, I mean, what do you think, Brian? Do you think this package will end up getting scrapped at some point? Because I'm on the fence with that. I think we could see this package get completely scrapped.
Uh, Possibly.
Yeah,
Uh, NASCAR doesn't have a history of that,
yeah, that's
so
very
that
true.
would be my only thing of it, not being scrapped. But at the same time, you have a bunch of your drivers saying, like Ryan Blaney saying he wants to, he'd rather go drive in the truck series if he was just going to drive a truck. And then you got Joey Logano, who just won Las Vegas, saying, "Oh, it's a great package." And then Kyle Busch, after testing, saying that anybody can drive it. So you've got a little tiny handful of drivers that really like it, and then you have a lot of drivers who hate it.
Yeah,
So um, I
I
think a lot of that's going to have to come into maybe the owners' hands a little bit. NASCAR might talk to the owners, get their opinions on it, uh, see how they like it. But I think the general consensus across the board is that it's just not very good. But it's only one race.
that's true.
We can't judge it on one race, unfortunately, because that was awful. But uh, but hopefully we'll get back to where drivers are happy and the fans are happy again.
Yeah,
Mainly the drivers, because when the drivers are happy, the race is going to be better.
I can't even lie either. I mean, during that race, I was falling asleep multiple times during the Las Vegas race, and I was very uninterested in it. But I mean, I am biased. I can't. I do. I don't like to be biased, but I feel like I am being biased when I watch these races now, and I'm just in deep down inside, like, man, I hate this. Just I'm a pure racing fan, and we I think we do need to cater to the casual fan, but at the same time, it's like who goes to the races and who actually puts their money into this stuff and enjoys it. So I mean, just looking at like that stuff, I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, like you said with Ryan Blaney, he said this is his exact quote after the qualifying full round, which we can talk about the qualifying because that really soured my weekend to start off. But Ryan Blaney got a quote of he says, "I love feeling like I'm in the Truck Series again. This isn't Cup qualifying. I used to actually have fun on Fridays." Hold on one second, actually. Got a mangy mutt trying to make some noise. All right, sorry about that, everybody. But yeah, like I was saying, I mean, during the qualifying, first I'll start there. The qualifying was horrendous. I mean, you literally had Kevin Harvick sit on the pole. Um, he like he said before, the fastest car is not going to get the pole tonight, and
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. He said the fastest car is not going to get the pole, then it gets the pole.
then he got the
So
pole,
it's like,
but he definitely didn't have it. I mean, I think the
uh,
RCR cars were super fast by themselves in qualifying trim, which they've shown that the past 2 weeks, but they've been pretty bad in the race. So I mean, that hasn't equated to them being good in the race yet. But my thing is like we had all the drivers sit there on pit road right before a minute 20 is when they needed to leave. And it was almost a wreck leaving pit road. That's how wild it was. I mean, all 12 drivers just leaving at one time. And even Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman, who actually did have the fastest 2 times, Alex Bowman would have been the pole setter for the race. And Alex Bowman, I think, did get royally fucked over. It there's some video out there that shows that he was across the line before they threw the flag, and I mean NASCAR can say that he wasn't, and with the timers and stuff, but they need to throw the flag earlier than if if
well,
that's right. They need to be on time with that flag throw because Alex Bowman got robbed of a pole, in my opinion. Chase Elliott was nowhere near. I can't even say that he was, but Alex Bowman, I think, did get robbed of a pole, which I think really would have affected his race. As we've seen, clean air has been huge in this package. So, I mean, you never know. Alex Bowman could have had track position all race because of starting up front, but he actually started 11th. So, and he
well,
actually had a terrible day. So,
it's like I
ah,
told you the other night, where so if NASCAR isn't going to let you finish the lap that you're on when you start that lap inside the timer, so if you start that lap with 2 seconds to go, that lap is going to count. If they're not going to let you do that, then they need to have official clocks posted all around to let everybody know what the official time is. Because as far as I understood it, they don't really have an official clock somewhere to where people can use that for reference.
yeah, they okay. So
So it's a huge guessing game.
on Fox's broadcast, they said that's it's an unofficial clock, which Alex Bowman would have made it with that clock. Now I don't know if that's the clock that their spotters and crew are using, but NASCAR said that their official clock showed that they did not make it. Which I'm I mean hey I guess it didn't make it the official clock, but the way the flagman waved the flag that time and all that. I believe Alex Bowman should have got the pole, but I mean, I
But I
am a little
mean,
biased.
human error. You can't expect the flag
Oh
man
yeah,
to wave
I
it right
completely
when it hits
agree.
zero.
But like it's just weird that the unofficial clock is right when zero when the guy waves the flag. That that Alex Bowman technically had a second to spare on the unofficial clock. So it's like I don't know. I wish maybe they get that clock
Yeah,
right, maybe on the broadcast, so at home we can see the
that's why
official
it's
time.
unofficial.
But uh, it's definitely something that it soured me just because like man, like they sit there and you literally everybody just waits till the last second to go because if you're the first car to leave, you don't get the draft, so you're not getting the pole. If you're too late to leave, then you don't make it back to the flag. So it's like, do we go to single car qualifying with this package? Which I think, I mean, I love the qualifying format the way it is right now with how the sessions work out because they took that from actually Formula One and modified it to work with NASCAR. But now with it being drafting, that being such a big factor, when before you didn't want no draft, you want nothing, you want completely clean air. But now you want draft, so like they had to change that actually for the plate races. So do they change that coming up? Do they make it single car qualifying? I don't know. I mean, I think that's the best way to do it. Then if it's going to be all about draft, I mean, who has the fastest car? Just go one at a time and just which kind of sucks because I love that format. I don't know if you like how open qualifying is, but just I don't know. I guess I really think they're going to have to go to single car qualifying with it though.
Yeah, I'm kind of more of a fan of the two lap qualifier, the closed qualifying, I guess you could call it. But open qualifying is more exciting. Um, and there's more drama built up. Like, oh, is he gonna have the fastest lap in this segment? But I think the single car qualifying is pretty cool because just from like a crewman standpoint or a driver standpoint, because it's kind of an all day thing. When you're going one car at a time, it takes up a whole afternoon. So you're just kind of chilling, waiting your turn and talking to everybody. And it's just kind of I think it's a nice time for a lot of them when qualifying was like that.
Yeah, I think that I think they need to go back to a single car with this package at least. I mean, the reason why I think I like the open qualifying the most is because a lot of times the pole happened single car qualifying came down to your draw uh, with the weather, which I mean that still can be a factor if they do go back to single car qualifying. But I mean at the same time I'm like I don't want to see cars drafting to get the pole and it's not truly the fastest car. I'd like to see the actually fastest car sit on the pole for real. So
Or you could do a combination of both. You
yeah,
could have like two segments to get it down to like the
the top
final
12,
16.
yeah, and then do single car
Like,
there.
yeah, I would just do the 16 since Chase is 16. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of keep with that theme. So yeah, get it to the top 16 and then top 16 is a single car. That
that
would
could
be
work.
interesting.
Yeah, could definitely work. I mean, I also liked in open qualifying, if your car has like a balance shift, on the next set, or not next set, tire speed on the same set, but on the next run, I always thought it was cool to see, say a guy is first in the first session, then by the end of the third session, he's like, eighth or ninth or something. So,
Hmm.
and there could be some tire saving in there. So I always thought it was cool strategically wise, but I just don't like the drafting. I'm not a big fan of that. So, especially because I don't think Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman had the fastest cars, but they were the last two cars in line. So guess what? They got the most draft. So it's just one of them things. And Kevin Harvick, the guy who got the pole, was the car ahead of them. So I mean that just shows the draft was huge. But I mean that's just qualifying. But like Ryan Blaney said. I mean as a driver, qualifying is like your balls out time. It's like man, this is when we get to go as fast as we're gonna go all weekend. So I feel him. He said he's not having fun. That's unfortunate. And to take another quote from a driver after the race, this is from Jimmy Johnson. Um, he says they've taken away a lot from the drivers by lowering the horsepower. He said we don't have any throttle response with the way these cars sit. He said, I think it puts it more on the vehicle itself than you really relying on the speed of the car that the driver makes. And I think what he means by that personally is it kind of, if your car is not making speed, you're kind of screwed in this package. Like, there's not much the driver I feel like can do to affect the way his car is or his speed of his car like they could before. And the throttle response thing is my big thing. Is like if you ain't got throttle response, it's gonna be really hard to pass. And with that low horsepower, I definitely think they don't have a lot of throttle response.
Yeah, well, that's part of the thing. I think was it Dale Jr. was saying is that with the tapered spacer they're running on these big engines, trying to hit a horsepower goal to make it smaller. Uh, y- that's not really the best way to go about going down on horsepower because now you have ruined that throttle response on that engine by restricting that airflow. So they
Definitely,
should have just went with a smaller engine, just kind of bite the bullet to your wallet right there. And because without throttle response, there's a lot of things drivers these drivers cannot do on the exits of the turns. Uh, just because they're not able, if they want their car to break loose a little bit so they can get a better drive off, they can't really do that as well when you got a car that doesn't have any of that pickup to it.
definitely. Yeah, no, I know NASCAR wants to stay away from the higher horsepower numbers again. So I think, I'm the person. I want 900 horsepower again. I mean, that's what I want, but I don't think we'll ever see it again, unfortunately.
No,
But
no, we'll see it again.
I don't think so. I just don't. I don't see it
Because
happening again.
in about, I give it 5 to 7 years, NASCAR is going to have like
A
a
renaissance.
e-car series,
Oh,
and you're going to have like an internal combustion engine of like 400 horsepower.
and then like
You're going to
a
have like a
hybrid.
hybrid of
Yeah.
500. That's 900.
Yeah, I mean I could see that, but
Teslas, dude.
the
They're
only
going to raise
reason
Teslas.
why I say I don't think so is because like the insurance companies won't insure stuff with that high horsepower for some reason in NASCAR. They don't want to, and NASCAR said they don't want to
Is
see
that
these
the
the
problem?
high straightaway speeds anymore that we've been having, which I don't.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's my thing,
Like,
man. It's
yeah, it's dangerous. Yeah,
exactly
it's reckless, but that's the idea.
exactly. I completely agree with
Like,
you, but I think the only way we're gonna achieve something good again in NASCAR or a really good product, I think, like you said, you got to build the engine smaller. If you're going to run lower horsepower, you got to run a smaller engine. You can't run tapered spacers. The rest of what is the point? Like, I mean, I
yeah,
understand we're running
because
higher horsepower at other tracks, but this whole swapping back between horsepower is just I really think it's a terrible idea. But I mean, if you want to have a low horsepower, just build smaller engines. They have more pickup. They, it's just I don't know. It's something that like I'm just like why why put a
I
tapered
think,
spacer? I mean, I know they want to save money right now. That's a course thing while they're trying to figure it out. But man,
yeah, I think that was kind of the big thing is them saving money, and there could have been other smaller things that are not so obvious to us since we aren't in the loop.
yeah,
But I think probably a lot of it was money, but really, I think right now the engines are 5.9 liters, which is, gosh, that's got to be a, see, if a 5.7 is a 345, then a 5.9 has got to be,
it's like they're like 350s pretty much. They're like
yeah.
358s.
So what NASCAR really should do when they go down on the engine size is maybe, because they have a tendency to go kind of extreme.
Yeah,
I think what they need to do is go to a 305, so a 5
yeah,
liter engine, and that would make Ford really happy.
yeah. Ford would
So
love
they
that with
got
their
their Coyote.
305. Yeah,
Um, uh, Chevy and Toyota would not be as happy.
Yeah, I think Chevrolet wants 900 horsepower again.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because in 2020 NASCAR is going to announce this the Gen 7 and the new manufacturer, and NASCAR is going for less power and all of this. But yeah, they want a new manufacturer, and a lot of people want that to be Dodge. But I mean, Dodge just came out with their new 426 Hemi that's
Yeah,
over 1,000 horsepower. So,
that's what we
uh,
need.
yeah, I mean, put one of those in every single. Oof,
That's what I'm talking about. We need 1,000
Auto Club would
horsepower.
be interesting then.
Yeah, we need to be going down the
Be
straightaway
going
like
230 in a turn
230, and
one.
then we slow down to like 160. Just huge amounts of slowdown. I think we'll see some crazy racing, but I mean that's where we next are going to see this package. I mean, Auto Club. What do you think there? I mean, do you think it's going to be better?
No. A lot. I think a lot of drivers are gonna say they catch themselves daydreaming on the straights
I mean, they
because they're
might
gonna
bring
be
a
going
book,
so
right?
much
They're going to bring a
slower.
book with them to read.
That's true. Or Brad Keselowski, he's always on Twitter in his car,
Yeah,
so
he going to tweet a little bit.
yeah, he could tweet on the backstretch because I mean they're gonna be going so much slower. I think they're not even gonna be near 200
Yeah,
uh to the 210 or whatever it was they were going in
yeah,
turn
yeah.
one last year. Um, so yeah, I think that's gonna be a long race.
It, I think it. I think it has a chance to be interesting with it being so wide of a track. I'm going to be on the optimistic side and hope for the best. Like I agree with you. It's probably not going to be great. um, but I'm gonna hope for the best. I mean, it's kind of like Atlanta with the fall off of tires, but I don't know. The one thing we can't take away, I guess, is we have had battles to the end of each of these races. Yeah, Martin Truex running down uh Brad Keselowski, Atlanta, not being able to make the pass. You had Brad Keselowski and Joe Logano actually trading the lead a few times there at the end. To getting really close. Brad Keselowski almost pulled that off again, but I mean, so we've seen some good racing. I think we're being a little hard. I do think especially me, I trust me, I hate this. I hate the package, but I think we're being a little bit hard on it. Maybe I I'm hoping with the coming weeks that man, it really will find a footing. I guess so. At least we go through this full season and not be like dreading every race. I'm interested to see how the short tracks are next week. I love Phoenix. I can't wait to see what the racing is like there. Um, I I'm interested to see how the teams change the pecking order from these package changes. I know like Hendrick looks terrible. I'm a huge Hendrick fan. And Brian is too, and I'm disappointed. I mean, I thought we were gonna come out the gates pretty good this year, but I guess not, and we'll
Yeah,
just have to see
I'm
how
not looking too much into that because Hendrick usually,
they usually
it
start off
takes
slow.
them several weeks to
Yeah,
kind of pick it up.
yeah. See, since we've talked a little bit about the package and about what's going on with that, I kind of want to get into a conversation maybe about like driver stuff right here because we had I heard this throughout the whole week after Atlanta because Martin Truex Jr. had a huge issue with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. there in a race, getting around him to get to Brad Keselowski. And after the race, he said
Oh
that
yeah, talking about Atlanta.
yeah, Atlanta, and talking about how he came out of the car and he's like, lap cars got no respect and all this blah blah blah, and a lot of people called him a crybaby, for complaining about racing, and I was more on the side of man, he's right. Like, I mean, you got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. A whole straightaway ahead of the next car for a lucky dog. It, like, you're coming down 10 to go, and the guy behind you asks you for a lane. Just asks for the bottom lane, and you can't give it to him. And I understand you're a faster car. You should pass him. If you're going for the win, you should be able to do it. But people got to understand there's other factors out there called dirty air, and that air is way more effective than you think it is. And I don't know. I completely agree with Martin Truex Jr. Like, I'm not a big Ricky Stenhouse fan, first of all, so I can get that bias out there. We can just let everybody know that I don't like the guy. I think he's a fucking idiot. First of all, I mean he drives like one, so it, it's
Oh,
just
you beat me to it.
yeah yeah. Well, I'm glad you agree with that, but
He's so stupid.
I think he's one of the dumbest drivers in the circuit. But I mean, I don't like the guy, so I guess that's a bias I see, and I know some people say he races hard. Well, there's times to race hard, and there's times to be a damn gentleman. And you know, when I'm in a league race, I'm in a position, I'm a lap car, and the pack's catching me. And even in that, which now with the new iRacing bill, we will have to deal with dirty air a lot more. Um, you know, with the old build, the dirty air was not a factor. You know, if you were faster, you could make a move on a guy, get by him. But I still would give that person the ability to go catch that leader because
Yeah, because
winning a
it's not your
race,
fight.
yeah, exactly. Winning a race is bigger than you know than anything. It's if Ricky Stenhouse is in that position, he's pissed off, in my opinion. Trying to like you're going
Oh,
for
he
a
would
race
go up
win.
to the driver and you'd be yelling at him and all this, and I mean, he's one of those guys.
Definitely, you know, I seen some really like big veterans say like Dale Jarrett. He pretty much was saying Martin Truex Jr. is a crybaby about it, and I was like really blown away that someone could think that about someone. And first of all, I want to get this out of the way because this pisses me off. First of all, in sports, anyways, when people call sports athletes crybabies for complaining about certain things. First of all, I don't care who the hell you are. In the heat of the moment, you're gonna complain when you're battling. If you could listen to our chatter on iRacing, when we're racing with each other,
Oh man,
you're gonna complain the whole time. That is in the heat of the moment. If I wasn't complaining, I'd ask if I really wanted to win. You know, I would be questioning. If you did not show some type of emotion like that, it's the same thing I think I see in Kyle Busch
his
when people,
passion.
yeah, it's passion. You'd rather win. You hate losing more than you like winning. That's the way I look at it. And if you ain't like that, then you're doing it wrong. I mean, I almost take this back to the Cam Newton situation when at the Super Bowl. I don't like bringing up football right now, but he left that press
Ah, live
conference.
football.
Yeah, well, no, I didn't say I didn't like football. I was saying I
I
usually
could,
don't bring football in, but
I could talk about football in July.
yeah, I know you could. But you got Cam Newton who leaves a press conference. You know, he's frustrated. He just lost the Super Bowl. He's an MVP this year. They probably should have won. They were the best team all year. Carolina Panthers were. I mean, when you sorry to remind you, Brian, but when people say like he's a crybaby for doing that, like I just see it as passionate. He cares that he lost this game more than
Well, yeah,
anything in that moment.
and with Cam, it's I'm a huge Carolina Panthers fan, huge Cam Newton, anybody, everybody related to the
Yeah,
Panthers, I'm a fan of them. So the thing with Cam is he gets more frustrated with himself that
exactly.
he always feels like he never gave 100% when he loses or when he fails to do something, and so that's what that is that he's mainly just disappointed in himself, and a lot of people look at it when he's, gets like that, like used to when he first came into the league with a towel over his head and all that.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, that's not how a leader's supposed to be. Blah blah blah. That's how he coped, and he's gotten better with that. And when it comes to the drivers, like you were saying with the iRacing, the Discord chat, like there would be a lot of upset people, with me in particular, uh, if they heard some of the stuff I said about him. But again, that's heat in the moment. Like, I
it
mean,
is
there's been
exactly.
times between you and I
Yeah,
where we get pissed as hell on the track at each other. But then as soon as the race is over, like, I mean, we just go about doing like it
you
never
gotta have
happened.
some time to to let stuff air out and he like well right when you get done I am I am the first person. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I don't give a flying f and just it's just one of the things that like I'm glad like I don't know I just see people complaining about drivers that complain like that and yeah he's complaining but guess what he's passionate about that damn win. He wanted to win that race more than anybody probably. So I like that. I applaud Martin Truex Jr. for actually saying how he feels instead of being like, I was actually really pissed at Ricky Stenhouse, but I was like, oh no, in my interview he did amazing. He told us how he felt. Like, get the fuck
Yeah,
over
well,
it.
and the other thing is that it, so the media critiques him
Yeah,
and says this, that, and the third about him, but the media is also the people who go up to him right after he gets out of being in a race car for
exactly,
4 hours. His adrenaline is up, and so it's like, what do you expect him to say? And then you're gonna say that, oh, that's not the right way to go. But well, I mean, what do you expect?
exactly. I, I'm complete. Like, it'd be one thing if he was still complaining about it like a week later, like, damn Ricky Stenhouse,
Yeah,
always holding me up. But he just got out of the damn car after trying to win a race, and you're gonna sit there and say he's a crybaby? I don't know.
we get so caught up in being concerned with what people say
Exactly.
rather than what they do.
It's frustrating. That one frustrated me. I wanted to talk about that last week, but we didn't have the podcast, of course, because I was sick, and that was one of the things on my mind. I was like,
Well, and then
we're gonna talk about this.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. got on somebody else's nerves this
Yeah,
week.
yeah. He gets on everybody's nerves. He's fucking.
I think it was it Eric
It was
Jones?
Eric Jones. Yeah, he pinched him down on the apron, like, and didn't let him come back up. Like, come on, man. Like, that's just
Messed
respect.
up. Like,
Like, I don't know. It's you know he's racing hard because he's finally got a chance. Whatever, but we all know Ricky Stenhouse Jr. ain't the greatest driver.
well,
So
he's driving desperate is what he's
yeah,
doing.
no, he looks
He's
desperate.
driving desperate, and you just can't do that. You just gotta. It's like talking about Cam Newton. You just gotta give it 100%, and if 100% isn't good enough, then you gotta find a way to make your 100% better.
Exactly. And yeah, I just
Don't be
that's
doing
another thing with this
stupid
package.
shit.
I mean, you already see right now. I mean, look at the guys that are being actually pretty strong in this package. Other than the Penske guys, of course, they've been amazing. But I truly think they're great drivers. They have a lot of talent and all that. But you look at guys like Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Austin Dillon, like like
Oh yes, let's
let's
talk
not
about
get
Austin
yeah
Dillon.
yeah let's I could go into a rabbit hole with the drivers
That
that, in
could
my
be a
opinion,
whole
don't
other
deserve to be
podcast.
there. And now, I'm not saying Austin Dillon's a bad driver because he's done amazing things in the Xfinity series. He's actually got the highest average finish at mile and a half than any Xfinity driver all time. So,
Yeah, that's pretty believable.
but I also will credit that to RCR has a very good Xfinity program. Now, I think Daniel
Yeah.
Hemrick. I now let's take this another way. Is Daniel Hemrick
Oh,
his teammate? I think he's a great driver.
he's
So
doing pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, I think Daniel Hemrick has a chance to be a really really good driver in this Cup series. And you know, oh, and I actually just thought of something we could talk about too. I can't. I'm. This was really cool. This happened in Las Vegas, but a female named Haley Deegan won her second NASCAR
Oh
K&N
yeah.
race this weekend. She took the lead for the first time in the points. That's the first woman ever to lead the K&N series. Now,
That's a real Danica Patrick right
is
there.
she the real deal, Brian? What do you think?
Uh, I mean, time will tell. She's gonna have to make her way up. I think if she can start winning in the Truck Series, I think so. Um, but it's just like I don't know. Like, there's a
It's
lot
hard to
of
tell.
learning to be done
Yeah,
with her. I think.
I
I mean,
think she
she's
has the
obviously
talent.
got the set of skills.
Yeah,
Um, and she got the passion for it. But just time will tell on that one.
yeah, because I don't want to overhype her now. I mean,
Yeah,
it,
but
it,
she's worth talking about.
she is definitely worth talking about. I mean, the girl's got everything going on. That's for sure. I mean, she's like, I mean, she went on a dirt track for God's sakes. I mean, she is from the dirt side. Her dad, Brian Deegan, if everybody doesn't know, is a motocross rider, freestyle motocross also, and they do a bunch of off road truck stuff. So that's cool to see that she comes from almost like a Jimmy Johnson background, and
Yeah, very similar.
I mean, that takes car control. And like, I watched some of the stuff from this past weekend, and that girl has got the best car control in the K&N series of all of them guys. And there's some young hitters in there, young talented young men, and she's definitely making herself, shine. and NASCAR is promoting the hell out of it. I mean,
Well,
I don't
and
want
so,
them to make her another Danica. I just don't. I feel for her because she's got the talent. She actually, Danica Patrick. A lot of people always said, "Oh, blah, she ain't got the talent." But in the IndyCar, like there is certain, I don't think Danica was a stock car driver, like a purebred stock car driver. I mean, she won a dang IndyCar race. I mean, that shows you got talent right there. But I
well,
don't think her ability was as good in a stock car. I don't think it takes a different driver. I mean, in my opinion, I mean, you're not going to take an IndyCar driver and throw him in NASCAR like who's one of the top IndyCar drivers? Will Power. You ain't gonna throw him into a Cup car and him go out there and dominate. So I
well,
mean,
yeah, well,
and you're
it's
not gonna
like you
throw
have,
Jimmy Johnson in IndyCar and him dominate. So it's it's different philosophies, but I don't want them to do the same thing that they did to Danica and overhype her. So,
but yeah, it's like you've got, stock car drivers, you got IndyCar drivers, you got F1 drivers. There's very few people who are race car drivers. Like I mean, I'm kind of biased because I'm a fan, but Jeff Gordon, I think he's a race car driver. He's gotten in other
yeah,
vehicles and has shown that he can drive the hell out of them. Uh, Tony Stewart is
yeah,
another one who can pretty much just drive anything.
IndyCar champion.
Uh, Kyle Busch, Robbie Gordon, guys like that. Those are
Robbie
race car
Gordon.
drivers.
Robbie Gordon is actually a really good one. He's got raw talent. Uh, that's actually
Yeah,
something I think
that's
Tony
about
Stewart
all he's
said.
got.
Yeah, he ain't got a. He don't have much noggin left.
or Fuse. Got
Yeah,
a short temper.
he got a very short temper. That's for sure.
That's why he ain't in NASCAR anymore. They couldn't put up with him.
And I mean, Haley Deegan has a bright future. I think she's got 6 ARCA races coming up this season, so we'll really get to see her there. Can she take it to the a higher stock car class? And I think I'm predicting this right now. She will be in a KBM truck in a year or two.
Hmm.
Toyota, if they're smart, they will put her in that truck. And I think Kyle Busch will do anything Toyota tell him. So I mean, they fund pretty much
What
the
are
whole
you
thing.
saying? What are
Well,
you saying?
I'm saying that Toyota runs that shit, which that's how Kyle Busch makes. He's a smart man for doing that. I mean, he's a feeder for Toyota to Joe Gibbs,
That's true. Yeah.
and I mean, I can see her. The Truck Series. I think, like you said, Brian, is going to be the key test for her. I think ARCA will be interested to see how she runs there, but I'm really
Yeah, I
interested
think Arca she'll be
in.
fine.
Yeah, I think ARCA she's going to do good. I think she might be able. I don't know if she'll win a race, but I think she can
Should
definitely
get
run
podiums.
good.
Should get a couple podiums.
Yeah, and I mean, like that's the thing about her. Like, you know, you think about a woman racing. I don't want to be misogynist or whatever you call it,
She's
but
lighter, so she has an advantage.
like
Nah.
she actually has like God given ability and deserves a shot at that. I don't think every girl does. I mean, we have Natalie Decker in the Truck Series. I think she's got some talent. She raced in the ARCA Series for a while, and she's actually shown to be pretty decent so far in the Truck Series, even though she's had some rough outings too. But
Is
you
that the
know,
one Kevin Harvick liked?
that was Haley Deegan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he raced at
Couldn't remember
his
which one.
hometown track with her, and he said it was any driver that he would like thinks has the talent to get here, it's her. He said driving behind her, he could see that she has it, that it factor, and very interesting though. We only got about 10 minutes left in the podcast, guys. We talked about a lot of stuff so far. I got one more topic before we get out that just popped in my head from talking about Kevin Harvick, especially. Um, Harvick has a podcast or a radio show, and it's called Happy Hour. And
I
he
see
had
what they did there.
yeah, Happy Harvick. Um, and they had Jimmy Johnson on the past week, and Harvick had something very interesting he said in the media center when somebody asked him about it, and they asked him like, "What's your thoughts on Jimmy Johnson's career?" And this is I'm not saying quote, but because I don't have the quote in front of me or nothing, but
It's a paraphrase.
a paraphrasing of it. He pretty much said that Jimmy Johnson is the most underrated driver in NASCAR history, or least respected champion in NASCAR history, and he was saying that he like I mean, which is high praise from a real champion himself, I think, and he was pretty much saying that like people really underestimate Jimmy Johnson's true ability, and I just like to get your opinion on that, Brian. Like, do you think Jimmy Johnson's one of the more underrated champions? I mean, he's won 7 championships, but not exactly does everybody praise him to that high of standard. I feel like.
Well, yeah, it's kind of funny. I think it was back in Atlanta. The broadcast was talking about Chad Canals and the 24 team, and they made sure to mention that, oh, he's a 7-time champion crew chief, and but they never really said anything about Jimmy Johnson, which was I mean, I don't know if I find it odd, but because Chad Canals is on a different team now, but it was just since we're on this topic of Jimmy being underrated, I guess that kind of it seems odd now. Um, but yeah, I think some of it does have to do with Chad Canals. I think a lot of people give Chad Canals more credit than Jimmy Johnson for those wins and those championships. But uh, it's like we were talking earlier about Jimmy coming from the dirt. And he's again, I think he's more of a race car driver where
Yeah.
can put him on or in anything, and he can drive it really really well. Um, so I think he's underrated in that respect. Um, but in another respect, just like as a man in general, like when you see him upset with somebody, he's not like Kyle Busch, or he's not, he never really gets super super upset, screamy, yelly, all that. He's pretty calm, cool, and collected most of the time. And I think that just speaks about his focus and his drive for wanting to be better and better every week. And I think that's what got him those 7 chances. Just him, you know, kind of staying under the radar from everybody else. To
Yeah.
don't make friends, but don't make enemies. So
Definitely. I mean, I think another factor is I think Jimmy Johnson in the modern era may I'm such a Jeff Gordon fan that it's hard for me always to say Jimmy Johnson is the greatest of the modern era. I I'm still torn on that just because with all the point system shake up, if this is always a big if, and we like to also attribute races could have been different because teams could have drove them differently because of the point system where they were, but the fact is that Jeff Gordon would be a 7-time champion in NASCAR if they never would change the point system, and Jimmy Johnson would be a 3-time champion. I think that hurts Jimmy right there. I think a lot of people, especially the older, more, I guess you could say the old type of fan who does not respect Jimmy Johnson as much due to that. I think a lot of people think the chases in the playoffs were kind of, on the more bullshit side, I guess you could say,
yeah,
gimmicky.
I never really liked them. Even as a kid,
Yeah,
I didn't. I'm just starting to kind of
enjoy him a little. Yeah,
accept them.
accept it exactly, and
Not even enjoy it really.
yeah, it's one of them things. I really don't like. I understand the whole playoff thing right now. I don't enjoy the playoffs. I just don't like the whole fact that deciding champion in one track. Jimmy Johnson did win 6 championships under the chase format now, so we did have to take that in fact. He did do it under 10 races where everybody had the same amount of chance. Now, can we argue those 10 races are probably Jimmy Johnson's best racetracks? Yes, and it was not built around it, but perfect for him as a driver. I still think Jimmy Johnson doesn't get the respect though that he deserves because I mean 84 wins in the most competitive era in NASCAR, no doubt.
Oh
There's
yeah,
never been a
definitely
more
most
competitive era,
competitive.
and I don't want to say he's the greatest ever, but I'll give him the greatest of the modern era right now. I think Jeff Gordon is a little bit underrated due to
Only
unfortunate
having
points
4.
changes, yeah, and having 4 championships. and coming up close about lots of times with the chase, but never getting it done. But it is such a hard to debate, when you're deciding that stuff. But I really think they were the two greatest. I think we can say that. I think Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson definitely have the modern era, you know, on their side, and I think Kyle Busch is even starting to. Not even though Kyle Busch has one championship, and it kind of came controversially, of course, because he didn't do the full season, and he technically under old point systems, he would never have won a championship so far. So we can say that he's never put it together during a full season. But I still see the talent wise, I put Kyle Busch up there with them, but I still think Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson just have such a long lasting effect on the sport. I think Jeff Gordon has a bigger effect. I think Jeff Gordon's been more respected, but
Well, he's the one that put NASCAR in the
it,
modern
it did,
era.
it did exactly, and he has led that to to what it is today. And I mean, I'm sure he didn't lead it to what the way it's ran today, but definitely the way the fan base was built. You know, between states and farther out west, we really brought it up to the mainstream. And you know, I, I don't know. I know that NASCAR's highest moment was 2003, and ever since we've implemented, a format change in points, it has gone down. So, I mean, before we get out, I guess we'll do this one thing. Do you think we'll ever go back to the old point standings, Brian?
Well, what I was gonna say, what I'll close with this is when it comes to the argument of, you know, should this driver have won this championship? Should this driver have won this championship? It comes down to what do you believe is a better team? Is the better team the one that is good for 30 some odd weeks for the whole year, like consistently up there all the time? Or is it the team that can throw it together and put some really good finish consecutively? And so you have to ask yourself, one, could those be the same team? And two, if it's not, then which is the better team? The one that's consistent or the one that can perform really well and just put a string together right at the end? And Jeff Gordon was definitely more of the consistent type, and Jimmy just knew how to put some good finishes
And
in
pull it
at the
out.
end of the
Yeah.
season.
Clutch.
And same for Kyle Busch. I mean, again, he won the championship after he broke his leg and was out for
Yeah.
a few weeks. So he wasn't consistent that year. Um, and so the chase helped him in that. So it's just a matter, you can't change it. The point system is what you got, and you gotta play the game. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever change back to the original?
Um, I don't think, not quite the original. It'll be a little different if we ever
Yeah.
do go back to something like that. But I think maybe it could be simplified a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I think they need to like just go down to one segment, do kind of like what we do over at Racing Freaks, where it's
Yeah.
like kind of early and just have that one segment, and then let the rest of the race be the rest of the race.
Definitely. Yeah. I don't know if I ever see it like you said going back either, but I'm definitely open to it. And I think Jim France, who's leading NASCAR right now, who's the leader, I think he actually prefers it. So there's been quotes or rumors that he actually wants to change it, but I think we could see something changing here soon. I think it depends a lot on the sponsorship that NASCAR has, which we have Monster right now. I think they want to see a playoff. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes forward. Of course, because Monster does not have a contract with this after this year, and they've been doing 1 year contracts with Monster, which is cool to see Monster keep coming back right now. But it'll be interesting to see who maybe comes in the future and stuff like that. So lots of
Well,
stuff that could change. But
in the truck series, you got your outdoorsy
yeah,
stuff. So you got that, and the V car Series X
got
Xfinity
your
series. You get
Xfinity.
your cable and your
Yep,
internet. Okay, so So we're outdoors. We got our RV. We got our internet. What else do we need?
Beer,
Right now, we need some energy
beer.
drinks.
We need some beer.
Beer.
Okay. Before we
Bless you.
before thank you. Before we go, we'll make one prediction about next week, and we'll pick our winner.
Oh,
So,
ISM.
yeah,
Oh,
ISM baby. Who you got winning this weekend, Brian?
I can't pick one, so I'm gonna pick two.
Okay,
It's either gonna be Kevin Harvick or Kyle Busch.
okay, good picks actually. All right, I'm going with Chevrolet because I'm a Chevrolet man and I'm biased as hell. Since you picked two, I'm gonna pick two. Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott is gonna win this weekend.
How did I know it was gonna be those two? Oh
But
wait, because if I didn't choose Harvick and Busch, those were the two I was gonna pick.
yeah, well, my reasoning for Chase Elliott is because he dominated actually the Phoenix race there, last
That's
fall,
true. Yeah, he should have won that
and then
race.
spent on pit road. And Kyle Larson actually, I know when they tested this high downforce package they have, he was the fastest there during a test. Which I mean, tests don't mean anything. Jimmy Johnson was fastest at Las Vegas, and we see how good he did
Well,
there.
and the
So,
RCR cars were quickest at the Las Vegas test,
that's
and they
true.
were
Yeah,
quick in practice. So
that's very true. So I mean, it'll be interesting. But I think those two guys are two guys to watch. Chase Elliott's kind of on the fringe end, I guess you could say, because I'm just going off what last year, but it's a different package, so they don't
because
have the
he's
same
with
car.
Hendrick.
Yeah, and I want to see him do good. But and I think he has a lot of talent at Phoenix. He has shown Phoenix to be one of his better tracks. He's a good short track racer. And Kyle Larson's shown to be good there too. So I think those are good picks from us. The Kevin Harvick one is pretty damn good. I mean, that's always a
Well,
good
yeah, I
pick at
mean that's kind
Phoenix.
of the obvious one.
Yeah,
Like when it comes to Atlanta, Texas, Phoenix, I mean even Auto Club.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
he's
like
good
I think
everywhere
next
now.
week I'm gonna choose Skank again.
Yeah, probably. We'll just keep Kevin Harvick a pick
He's a
every week.
safe
How about
bet.
that? Yeah, he's a safe
Yeah,
bet.
Kevin
So
Harvick and Kyle Busch. I mean,
that's the two safest bets in
those are
NASCAR, I
pretty
would
good
say.
odds.
Yeah. So I mean, you definitely hit your basis there. But yeah, as we'll go into ISM. We didn't get to talk much about Iverson or nothing tonight, guys. But new build just came out. Go check it out and
Yeah,
check
we'll
out
wait.
Racing Freaks
We'll
on
wait to
Saturday
mention it.
nights, and also Thursday night we'll be broadcasting in Lenora. You can catch us at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, our
Yeah,
sponsor, at 9 o'clock Eastern. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this week, guys. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And sorry for the beginning there. I know the first minute or two, Brian was mute. But luckily, I caught that before we did the whole podcast, and then I went back and
yeah,
just
that would have
me.
been funny 20 minutes through
Yeah,
after I just drop these nuggets of wisdom on you.
that would have been
Missed them all.
unfortunate, but pretty much that's it for us tonight, guys. It's been the Dirty Air podcast. You can check us out on Facebook. You can find us here on YouTube, Dirty Air on YouTube. Plan to be posting a little more stuff on YouTube, maybe some iRacing stuff from our league stuff, because me and Brian are pretty deep into that stuff, and going for some more wins to put our name out there, right?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, maybe we could even put up some stuff for Road Pro and all
Oh yeah,
that
yeah, it's
stuff
true. Yep,
since
yep.
we're gonna be making that run, and
Heck yeah,
hopefully it'll turn out nice. And
definitely. Yeah.
hopefully by the time we, if we get up to peak and all that, they'll have that A car
Back to
built
900
fixed.
horsepower. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, we will have to deal with this new package in iRace, and
Yeah,
but we'll learn our best, and hopefully everybody's in our dirty air, right?
I sure hope so. I don't want to be in your dirty air.
I got nice dirty air.
Uh-uh.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Brian. Anything you want to let the viewers know before we go?
No, I think you covered it all. All of
All
our
righty.
appearances here and there.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us tonight for episode 2, and we'll be back next Tuesday. This time we will be back next Tuesday. Unfortunately, we had some things come out last
Uh,
week, and we'll be
Fortunately,
back.
not unfortunately.
Hey, don't be talking bad about my sickness. But all
Later.
right, everybody. Y'all have a great night, and we'll see you next week at 10 p.m.